Hello, everyone, and welcome to Healy for Beginners and Beyond for January 25th, 2024. I am your host, Jake Barron, Head of Operations for the Americas, and I have my amazing co-host, Ken Close, on the call today. And I don't know about you, Ken, but I'm really excited for today's call. You know, we like to delve into some more in-depth topics here on Healy for Beginners and Beyond. And it's been a while since we've been able to just focus on the basics. So that's kind of what we're doing to start this year, 2024. We're going back to Healy Simplified, an overview of the basics. And I know, a lot of you on this call have been with Healy for months or even years or more. And just because you've been with Healy for a while doesn't mean you're not going to find something new on this call. Every call that I've been with Healy for 3 years now, a little over 3 years now, and every tech tip call, every Healy for Beginners and Beyond, it's a constant learning experience. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. Maybe it's a reminder of some of the core functions, but some of the things that we're going to discuss too, I'm sure you'll find some great benefit for, even if you've been with Healy for many, many years. So we are going to go ahead and kick things off. And also, in addition to Ken Close, we have Henry from our tech support team helping out in the chat. So as we go throughout the call today, if you have any other questions, you can put those into the chat. We're going to try to follow the agenda as close as possible, but as time permits, we'll dive into some of those questions as well, and Henry will be there to assist also. So, man, it's been a while since we've kind of started with the basics, and the very first thing now, whenever anybody joins Healy, the very first place that you should go is the Healy Academy. And when we started doing Healy for Beginners and Beyond more than 2 years ago now, that wasn't necessarily the case that you could start an academy. We had an academy, but there wasn't a comprehensive list of videos, onboarding videos. We were more limited in what the tools that we have, the resources that we could go to help get started. But now, over the last 2 years and more, even more so over the last 12 months, there is so much content in Healy Academy that is the absolute first place that you start. Even before you receive your Healy device, before you unbox it, as soon as you place your order, as soon as you have your account created, you can log into Healy Academy and get started. And that's exactly what we're going to kind of start off with, is show you where to go. And if you've been with Healy for a while now and haven't seen these videos, definitely 100% go back and review these as well, because these are the absolute best place to go to get started with all the key information that you need to ensure you have a great experience with your Healy device. So we're going to start with Academy just a little bit, just review a few videos that you're going to want to check out first. We're not going to go through a full unboxing. We're just going to highlight a few key things related to that. And then we're going to spend a little bit more time on this next subject. And Ken, I know you do an amazing job of explaining this, but one of the top questions that we get from anybody new to Healy is, what is the difference between running programs with microcurrent versus running programs with a coil versus vibrating programs into the information field? So we'll spend a little bit more time on that topic than others, because it is so it's a bigger topic and there's more things to discuss. But then also things as far as how to determine which programs to run. We'll do a quick overview of HealAdvisor Search, which is a great resource to go to if you don't know where to look, what programs to run. And then also finding the right intensity for yourself when you're running the programs and knowing when to adjust that. And then also changing your Healy device from low current to high current, or from high current back down to low current. A lot of you do know how to do that, but it's very important. And we're going to mention the reason why, and also as far as why your Healy comes by default at the low current setting. And then a quick test that anybody can do to make sure that their electrodes and connection cables are working properly. And then, of course, we have many different Healy apps, and it's important to be able to know how to switch between them because certain ones can be open at the same time as others, but others you can't at the same time for them to work properly. And then we'll close with, you know, after watching this call, any additional support you need, any other questions that pop up in your journey with Healy, we're going to show you where to go for help for troubleshooting, and also to get support from our great tech support team. So let's go ahead and kick things off. We're gonna be doing a lot of screen sharing, a lot of actually sharing on the phone, on the device, the smart device themselves too. But we're gonna just start with, of course, here are our disclaimers that we show before each of our Healy for Beginners and Beyond, and these are also available on our each of our individual shops, Canada shop, US shop, and Mexico shop as well, and the other hubs around the world, certainly too. So, but getting started with Healy. So I just highlighted these two videos here. Um, we're going to how to get to them, but if you scan this QR code, it'll take you right there, or you can just go to academy.healy.world. But the top video, if you're new to Healy, you need a refresher with Healy, this video on the left that you see here, Healy and Mag Healy First Steps. Watch this video right away. Right after this call is over, if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and watch this video. It's more than 10 minutes long, so we're not going to watch it together on this call because we've got so much to cover today. And even if you don't have a Mag Healy, this has Mag Healy in the title, but this is basically takes you step by step from how to charge your Healy device, how to download the Healy app, the HealAdvisor app, the HealAdvisor Analyze app, how to connect to those apps, how to run a program in the Healy app, how to adjust the intensity, how to find what program to run, whether that's through HealAdvisor Search or through the Analyze app by doing an analysis, and then just key points to keep in mind, tips when you're using your Healy device too. So this is going to be again, we're going to cover a lot of these topics that are in this video in a little bit more depth, but this is the ultimate all-in-one. You know, if you can only watch one video to start your Healy journey, this is the video to go with there. And then on the right, on the side of the screen here, there's a guide for your Healy device. And this one's a little bit more in depth, specifically for running programs with your Healy, with the Healy 2 app. And this one is great as well because it goes into the charging the device also, but the Bluetooth connectivity, what the lights mean on the front of your Healy, the different light patterns as well. And then also the electrode connections, because there are certain places where you do not want to put the electrodes. So this goes into that as well. As far as don't put them on your eyes, don't put them in a crossing pattern, you know, around the heart, don't put them over open wounds, that kind of thing. So that's a great video as well for when you are getting started. So, but for today, we're going to focus mainly on the Healy 2 app and the HealAdvisor app. But of course, for most people, the 3 apps that you see on the screen here, these are the 3 apps that you're going to download. Unless you have the watch, then you download the watch app as well. But the Healy 2 app, the HealAdvisor app, and the HealAdvisor Analyze 2 app. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this particular screen, and we are going to switch over to Academy. So let me just go ahead and pull this up over here. Okay, so let me go back to sharing this. So we are now inside Healy Academy, and here you'll see here I'm on the Healy page. So those 2 videos that I just showed you are the very first 2 videos in the Healy section. So you see here Healy and Mag Healy First Steps, and then Guide for your Healy device. And you see there's a ton of videos installing and connecting to the app, setting up and running programs, troubleshooting. This is a great resource for if you ever run into any difficulty with your Bluetooth connection or something just for some reason not working. This is a great video to reference as well. For anybody that has expert programs, this is that a time waiver practitioner created for you. This is a great overview of those. The info center, everything about the Healy Bluetooth connection, how the Healy programs work. That's an awesome video as far as what's going on in the Healy device and how is it knowing which frequencies to give to you versus to somebody else. So that's an awesome video to reference back to as well. Same thing with the harmonization, tuning the bioenergetic field, also related to the science behind Healy. And then this video here, changing the electric current of the Healy device. We're going to come back to that a little bit later on the call, but that one shows you how to change your Healy device, switch the current either from low to high or from high back down to low again. So on this particular topic, and anything related to the getting started programs in Healy Academy that you would want to add, because these for those of you that have joined Healy recently, you are in a great spot to be able to go back and reference all these videos to ensure you have a great start with Healy. Okay, so let me go back. So we're going to kind of switch things around. So this is, again, before you even get your Healy device, this is the place to start. Don't wait till you get your Healy. If you have a Healy and have not watched this series of videos, please go ahead and as time permits, whenever it's convenient for you, check these out as well, because you're getting a much better understanding of everything that's going on with your Healy device. But we're gonna just for a couple minutes here, related to the unboxing. We're not going to go through the full unboxing, but everything that we have here, you have your standard Healy box. A lot of you, almost more than half of our orders do come with a coil as well, so you probably got a coil along with it. But I know we have people from Mexico, from Canada, from US on this call. Specifically for those of us in the US, the big thing to look out for when you're receiving your Healy device for the first time is look out for this little plastic bag here that has the wristband electrodes. So these, for the US specifically, do not actually come inside the Healy device box itself. They're in the shipping box, but not inside this box. So when you're unpacking everything, there's fill paper in there usually to make sure it doesn't move around in transit, but don't throw these away as well. But for the main thing, of course, your Healy device box, there's a quick start guide in there and the instructions for use. But really, the thing you're going to want to do the most is go back to Academy, because you're always going to have the most up-to-date resources in Academy, whether it's the videos or the Healy app manual that goes along with it. That is, again, the best place to go to get started. Then, of course, underneath those two guides, you have your Healy device, which you would just take out. And then really inside, it's, of course, you have your adhesive electrodes that are in there. You have the connection cables that are in there as well. And then, but just real quickly, we're going to talk about this micro USB cable. It's just a very short micro USB cable, but that is the charging standard that the Healy device uses itself. And you have the micro USB on one side, and you have the USB-A on the other side. So the micro USB plugs into the Healy device, and then this USB-A into a charging block. We definitely recommend to plug this into a high quality wall charger. Don't charge this through you can charge it through a laptop, but for the best performance, the quickest charging time, typically you're going to want to use a high quality USB charging block. And this cable is not proprietary to Healy. This is something that you can get anywhere. You can get these on Amazon. You can get these that are longer. If you ever lose your Healy charging cable, don't worry. Just like you can go on Amazon and get a multi-pack for just a couple dollars these days. If you want to get one that's a little bit longer than this, depending on where you're charging your device, you can do that as well. But Ken, anything you want to add related to the charging of the Healy device? And again, the video that I just referenced, the first steps with Healy, that also explains when you first plug in your cable and you charge your Healy, you're going to see on the front of the device, the green power light is just going to, it's very hard to see, but it's going to sort of flicker or pulsate a little bit while it's charging. And then once it's fully charged, that green light will go off. So Very easy to see. Plug it in and just leave it alone until that green light goes off. That means it's fully charged and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and Jake, great mention of that cable and its availability, because it's, you can get longer ones if that's too short. They're available almost everywhere, right? But also
Yeah.
what you plug that cable into, which is the AC wall adapter, or some people have USB ports right in the outlets of their home.
Yep.
I don't necessarily recommend plugging these things into your computer or laptop, because we're looking for a higher current flow output from an AC adapter. So what you plug into the wall. And sometimes those smaller ones or lower power ones take forever to charge, or maybe never really fully come to a charge. So we want to know that, that the specifications that are on there, on those little adapters, you can see there's a little spec plate typically on whatever you plug that cable into. And it's going to have milliamps or amps on it. And we want something around that 2.5 amps or 2,500 milliamps, something like that, to get you a good charge. So worth mentioning.
Yeah. Yeah. If forever you ever run into any reason charging your Healy device, it's definitely worth trying a different charging block, trying a different cable, because those things can go bad over time too. Whether it's the charging block you use for your cell phone or one of those ports that has multiple USBs, it's possible for just one of the USB parts to go bad too. So before you submit a support ticket or ask for, try a different cable, try a different charging block. And a lot of us don't even realize it, but you probably have a lot of these USB, micro USB to USB-A cables around your house. There's many, many different electric devices over the last 10 to 20 years that have been using that standard. So check out your miscellaneous cable drawer. You'll probably find one there too that you could test out to see if that one would work for you.
It's also worth mentioning that even though a cable has been working for a certain period of time and suddenly you start having some charge issues or battery retention issues, in other words, it goes dead seemingly quicker than it used to, it's worth mentioning that those cables don't have a limitless lifetime. So trying another cable before submitting a ticket, or testing other wire or cords is a huge benefit, and other charging blocks that plug into the wall. So give those things a test, like Jake said, before submitting a ticket, and see what happens.
Yep. Okay, so Ken, let's switch over to the most frequently asked question in the history of Healy, which is for good reason too, because when you're new to Healy, or maybe you've been with Healy for a little bit and haven't been kind of given the full background behind the different ways you can use your Healy device, it's a great question. It's a question I had when I first started with Healy. But Ken, let's discuss a little bit more on what exactly is it when you're using microcurrent versus using just the coil versus using neither of those and just vibrating programs into the information field.
Yeah, we do get this question often on Tech Tip Tuesday, and it's good to have a reference here that you guys can go back to and revisit this, because I highly recommend you listen to this a couple of times. Sometimes it takes a minute to understand, what are we actually doing with Healy? How are we actually infusing some small device into these biological bodies? And the truth is these bodies are conductive instruments, literally walking, talking antennas. We receive content all the time. Some of you guys that are out there that are intuitive, you understand what I'm talking about in another way. But we receive information all the time. These bodies, as an antenna, can absorb electromagnetic force. So you guys have heard of this, EMF. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes some people have concerns about EMF, but EMF is a way of moving energy through space, through free space, from a transmitter to a receiver. So that's a thing I want you guys to make sure you understand. These bodies are antennas. They're also conductive organisms. Through the water and cellular structures of our body, we can conduct electricity. And if you've ever touched a live light socket or AC circuit in your house and got shocked, you know what I'm talking about. Your body conducts energy. So when we connect via the wristbands and the wires, and we connect to the Healy hardware or the sticky pads that are used also, and we're running the microcurrent, aka the Healy 2 app, the pink app that we're talking about. When you're running that particular program series, the app itself, it engages the Healy's microcurrent transmission modality. Okay, so in other words, the Healy sends microcurrent out of the leads, and you'll notice on your Healy, you've got a plus and minus, these two ports on that. That's where you connect your Healy wires. And the plus and minus is kind of an indicator that you have a flow direction of energy, right? Like a battery in your car. Have you ever seen a battery in your car? Or even the batteries you put in your electronic devices, doesn't it have a plus and a minus, right? Those are the different leads. What that means is that's the direction of electron flow. So the Healy programs aren't relevant to which side is connected to what side of your body. However, it still indicates that we do have an electron flow from a negative potential to a positive potential through a circuit. And when we connect our bodies to this circuit, that energy goes through our system, primarily through the water in our system and minerals in our body. And so this is why we talk about hydration being extremely important, and electrolytes to keep the body highly conductive. This is also a way that our nervous system functions optimally, is through proper hydration and electrolytes. So this is the one way, and I like to use it a lot. And the reason is because microcurrent infusion into the body increases three main modalities of the body's healing and recovery system, aka number one, ATP production. A huge increase in ATP production. These are studies that are showing for decades around the increase in ATP production in the body by microcurrent influence. Amino acid transport, it's another one, highly increased by microcurrent infusion through the body, as well as protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is how cell structures actually do anything. Everything is done with a protein in our body. And so it's increased a lot with microcurrent. And there's studies to show you those numbers out there, right, as far as percentages. So microcurrent is, to me, it's a staple in which we use the Healy. Now, again, there's certain contraindicators. Not everybody can use the microcurrent, and you want to know what those are. But it's a very effective staple. The second way is with the coil, right? Now, Jake, do you want to add anything to the microcurrent while we're talking before we move on?
No. Go. Please keep going.
Okay. And we're going to talk about intensity, by the way, with that microcurrent. You can increase and decrease the intensity in the body. We'll talk about some of those levels and how to change that and why that's that ability. But I just want to kind of go over the three modalities right now. The coil itself, if you notice in the back of your coil, you have those two pins. Well, those two pins are the way that the Healy hardware transmits that same microcurrent that would have normally gone through your body through these pins and through two distinct coils that are built into this system, this device. They're printed circuits, physical electrical circuits in this device. And the current flows through these pins, through one and out the other. Again, electron flow. And in there are two coil systems that are 180 degrees off from each other. And so when that electron flow goes through those two coils, it emits a magnetic signal. I don't know if you guys have ever, like in early in school, if you ever took a battery, you wrapped a wire around a nail and then touched the leads of the battery or the leads of the wire to a battery, the nail becomes magnetic, right? It becomes a magnet. And this is how Healy, when it runs current flow through these coils, it creates a magnetic emission, right? It creates, what it does is it takes the frequencies that the program that you're using, converts them into a magnetic emission, like a radio station, pinging the information out of the coil into the atmosphere. And you wear the Healy on yourself with the coil attached. Now you are in the atmosphere, right? You're within the sphere of the transmission that this coil is emitting. And the two distinct coils in there The reason they're 180 off is because they transmit those magnetic fields forward and backwards, kind of omnidirectionally, like creating two amazing spheres that are that you're in the center of, essentially creating what they call a zero potential field or a 0-point field. Okay, so you're kind of in this amazing, beautiful bubble of protection infused with the frequencies that are being transmitted from the program you're running. Okay, so that's the coil. The third way that this works is with the HealAdvisor Analyze app. Within that app, that's a whole separate app, and it just simply uses the theory of quantum entanglement, the understanding and the science of the quantum entanglement, by designing a client within that database of the program, and then using Healy as the bridge between the client and the database in which you're doing the evaluation. And when you choose the vibrate mode, and it's essentially kind of like transmit mode, right? You can superimpose those two names. But when you use the vibrate mode, Healy then, the hardware itself, and the software sends this signal into the quantum field and essentially quantum entangling the client with the frequencies from the database. Okay, so now I want you also to think about this for a second. Healy is sending out the microcurrent, right, when you're using the pink dot. It is not sending out the microcurrent when you're using the blue dot. Now, this is the pink app, meaning the Healy 2 app, the one that runs the microcurrent. The blue dot, meaning the HealAdvisor Analyze app. Okay, there is no microcurrent coming out of the system. There is a pulsed signal from the frequency transmitter, but no microcurrent. So there's no need to be connected, by the way, folks, to the wristbands and the wires while you're doing anything within the HealAdvisor Analyze app. Okay, I have people ask that all the time.
We get that all the time, right? People ask, can I leave the coil in when I'm doing or vibrating programs in the Analyze app? And then, there's really no known benefit to doing that. So,
right. Yeah, there's really no need. So, so when we are using the HealAdvisor Analyze app, aka the blue app, it's all about quantum entanglement. Okay, it's all about the quantum field and the intention system. Healy being the objective observer, the objective system, creating to the subjective host or client. Right? It's a brilliant system. And it uses a lot of very advanced technology. And you've heard us talk about the quantum entanglement content before. A lot of science around that. If you're interested in looking that up, we've even done a special on that, right? But
yeah,
this is how
we talked about quantum entanglement twice on Healy for Beginners and Beyond in 2023. We started the whole segment, the last one, in December. You want to go to our Healy World Americas on YouTube, but you can get there by going just straight to HealyAmericas.com. Look for the Healy for Beginners and Beyond playlist, and the December 21st, 2023 episode, we covered quantum entanglement. And then also earlier in the year, on the March 2nd, 2023, we discussed quantum entanglement. And those were two of our most popular Healy for Beginners and Beyond for the year because of it's such a powerful thing. And once you really understand what's going on, it makes sense, because that's how the universe operates.
We also want to talk about, when we're talking about quantum entanglement and using the HealAdvisor Analyze app in vibrate mode, there is no locality, right? So proximity or demographic, it really doesn't make any difference, because quantum entanglement is non-local. So we can use this technology, we can use our Healy, and we can work with people anywhere in the world, right? And quantum entanglement will be just as effective next door or in the same room as it is in the next country. So make sure that you understand that that is a very valuable tool when you're working with people all over the place. Now, different from the coil, because we are sending a magnetic signal out of the Healy with the coil, right, is a electromagnetic system that is emanating those two fields. The frequencies from the program are within that bubble. The maximum effective range, right? Now I'm saying maximum effective range of the coil is about a 3 foot or a 1 meter diameter. I just take a big ball, right? Anybody have a big fitness ball? Okay. One that's like a 3 foot diameter ball. That's about the size of the maximum effective range. Now, I know, and within magnetic energy, there is no limit to the magnetic signal. Those signals do go out omnidirectionally forever, but they lose intensity the further they go away from the source. So the source being the coil, the energy system being the Healy, and so they lose energy the further away they go. It doesn't mean that it stops at that 3 foot, and it doesn't mean that's the only place that it exists, but that's the maximum effective range. I want you guys to understand that. When you're connected to the Healy, you're connected, the maximum effective range is the length of the wire, right? So however far that wire will go, but you're still being connected. You're essentially one with the hardware. And there's no difference in the amplitude of the signal right at the Healy or the amplitude of the signal right as it goes into your body. So there's no difference there. So the wires dictate the length of distance that you can be away from the Healy. I get questions a lot. I say, well, can I get longer wires? Sure, you can get longer wires, but I don't know the advantage to that. And what do you want? You want to keep the Healy on yourself, right? Connect it to yourself. It's designed to be a personable, wearable system. Hopefully that helps out. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ken. And yeah, I put those links into the chat for the December 2023 and March 2023 episodes on quantum entanglement. Definitely check those out. We spent the entire hour pretty much talking about those types of things and how it's possible, how that enables us to be able to do those remote analysis.
This the thing about this technology, it's been around since the 1800s, right? Max Planck is the father of quantum entanglement, and his studies are way back. However, the Nobel Prize was just given to a team in 2022 for that theory and that concept. So, what people used to think it was pseudoscience or, it was the woo-woo stuff. But I mean, we're working with technology that's been around for a long time. It's just that humanity and society, it hasn't been recognized through the scientific community until now.
Yeah, that was one of the fun things we discussed last month, is that one of the very first physicists to be working on this, in the 1970s, it hurt his career, the work he was doing. And then in 2020, then he goes and wins a Nobel Prize, like 50 years later. So things are catching up with what people were originally had the theory of back then, has now been proven. Okay. So go ahead, Ken.
I love that. We had some questions about, how do you work with somebody in long distance? There's content available out there for that, but it's, just consider intention. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy, right? And so when you're working with somebody in long distance, you're setting them up as a client, you're going to want to have the most personable interface you can. You can have them on the telephone and have a conversation that way and do it that way. Yes, I like to do visuals like we are right now. I can see your faces. I can feel your energy. We can interface through voice transmission and frequency there. And that just increases our entanglement. And so when we are hosting the analysis with someone, we will place our attention on them no matter where they are, via phone, video chat, Zoom call, whatever, and then create the client and do the same system as if they were sitting right next to us. The only difference is you wouldn't be placing the Healy in their hand. You would just be placing the Healy in free space, putting your attention on them and them on you, right? That's it.
Okay, Ken, let's switch over. We're gonna go. I'm gonna share the screen on my phone, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how to determine which programs to run. So, if you actually go back into that very first video that we were talking about, the Mag Healy and Mag Healy first steps, it mentions there's basically three ways. One is if that your own intuition is kind of leading you toward one specific program to run. If you're not and you really have no idea which program you would be best for you, then we have the HealAdvisor Search module, which I'm going to show on my phone here. And then also the third option there is to run an analysis in the Analyze app. And then that will give you, well, we'll talk about that one after we go into the HealAdvisor Search. But let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen on the phone. And we're going to go straight into HealAdvisor Search here in just 2 seconds. Okay. So now we have my screen up. I'm going into HealAdvisor Search. Or I'm going into HealAdvisor, which is the HealAdvisor app kind of holds many of our different modules. It holds the search module, it holds natural cycle, it holds bioenergetic vitalization, the animal module, if you have that, and also digital nutrition. But for today, we're going to focus just on HealAdvisor Search. It's pretty simple to use. So basically, if you're in here, you can pick if you want to just search for programs for animals, you want to search just within bioenergetic vitalization. I'm going to pick all IMF programs. Let's just type in. I'm a little bit sore from working out yesterday, so I'm going to type in muscle. Let me move that over. Okay, muscle sore. So if you watch the video, it's kind of like, okay, well, which one of these should I pick? It pulls up several. Always start with the first one. That's the one that's going to be most relevant to whatever search topic that you're typing in. So I'm going to click on here, Mobility 22, and you'll see here one of my favorite programs, Regeneration in the Fitness Program Group. I run this one typically twice per week, but you'll see here, these are all, if say you had a really strenuous workout, you're a little bit sore or stiff the next day, some programs that might be good for you: regeneration, mobility, and the digital nutrition mixtures, body, classical, physical, and power of three, capital and the power of three, circulation and fitness, release and gold cycle, deep relaxation and fitness. So from here, you could either click on the program itself. You could add it to your program pool. You see on the top right, you can click that star. That adds it to your program pool, or if you want to remove it, you just click it again and it removes it from your program pool. If you click Start Program, that's going to take you over to the Healy 2 app to start running that program. Or you can just go back and you could add the search result to the IMF schedule, and that's actually going to create a calendar for you, essentially, of how to run those programs. So someone just asked here, what program pool? So let me just click on this. So I'm going to add this to my program pool, and then I'm going to go back, and you see at the bottom, the very bottom of the screen, you have Home, Program, Search, Info Center, and Settings. If you click on Programs, you see your IMF schedule. I don't have a schedule right now, but if you click Program Pool, you'll see here some of the programs that were already added to the regeneration, which I just added in this other one from earlier today as well. So, but if you want to just go back to search, oh, let's type in something else now. Let's type in sleep. That's a popular one. Let's go with sleep one, and programs that were related to, supporting a restful sleep. Of course, sleep systemic. That makes that makes sense that one would pop up, and of course we have several others. But let's just say we wanted to add this to our IMF schedule. So you click Add Search Result to IMF Schedule. It's January 25th, 2024 at 3:41 p.m. And I'm going to click Create IMF Schedule. Let's just show here real quickly how this is going to work. So this is set right now to only run 2 programs per day. So that's why you see I'm already past the morning and the afternoon, so the next program available would be Friday morning, and that's what you see here. If I click on this one, it's going to say it's going to run the sleep program and digital nutrition mixtures. Is recommending that one for tomorrow, and then the next one being in the gold cycle is recommending for the next day there. So and you could also, instead of clicking on the program, you just click on the date. So rather than click on Thursday, you can click on Friday and then scroll down. It's going to show you the two, it says Friday's IMF programs. These are the two that it's going to recommend to you. And it'll send you reminders. As long as you have reminders turned on, you'll get a push notification that says, hey, it's time to run your sleep program. It's time to run your being program. And then if you click on Saturday, you can kind of see it's recommending to run relax in the morning and then balance sleep later in the day. So you can kind of go around in here. You can play around and you can customize this too. So if you click on the little pencil next to the IMF program schedule there, you can change the application time. So you see here, if you only want to have a recommendation, say you only want to run a program once per day, you can unclick all the afternoon ones, or if you want to run three, say you want to run 3 per day. So you want to do all this. You notice that it had at least 1 day off because it's recommended. We recommend to at least take 1 day off per week from running these programs. But I just updated it. And now I'm going to click update IMF program schedule. It says thank you. It's ready. Click continue. And now you'll see before it said Thursday, there was nothing to run in the evening because I only had it set to morning and afternoon. Now there's still an evening program available. So for today, it's recommending sleep. And then for tomorrow, for Friday, it's recommending being, relax, and balance sleep. And then for Saturday, it's recommending bed rest, sleep systemic, and pineal gland harmony. So again, this you can go back in here. You can only have one search topic at a time for the IMF calendar itself, but you can change it. And there's a good reason too. Ken, I know oftentimes we talk about focusing on one thing all at once, like not 3 different issues that are currently going on and trying to address everything all at once. Just focusing on one at a time typically works best. So that's why it does do just one at a time. But again, you can't mess anything up here. It's not going to break your Healy if you do something wrong. So just go around, change the topics, add new topics, change the calendar, change the application times, change the reminders that you get on your phone too. So and yeah, and any questions, you can certainly reach back out on future tech calls. We're available every Tuesday evening on Tech Tip Tuesday as well for any assistance that you might need with some of these things. So.
We've talked about this before that like Jake, like you said, that running something for a period of time, because our body is matter in space and time, right? And it's influenced by what we're doing, but it is a slower moving ship than the frequency application. The application is quick. When you're sending frequencies, magnetic energy, you're running your Healy on your body, that happens very quickly. But the cellular evolution or the shift in cell processes takes longer. And so I always recommend people to do things for weeks. Create a program series, create some intention, something you're working on, work on that thing for a while. It's no different than, say, starting a new diet, right? You're going to want to stick with that for a while, because if you change your diet every day, how do you know what works? Right? Same thing with the fitness program. You're working on, you do one type of fitness program and then another and another and another. You don't know exactly what's the most effective. So stick with it for a while.
Yep. Perfect. So, okay, I'm going to go back. So that's, of course, one way to determine which programs that you want to run. While we'll come back to the other one, but while we're in here, I'm just going to switch over while my phone, I'm sharing my screen. You can see here, I'm actually running that regeneration program that came up earlier. It's been running for a little bit now, but we're just going to talk briefly about determining the right intensity for yourself and knowing when to adjust. You see there how the frequency wave is kind of flowing right there. And then you see now it went down to, it disappeared, and it said frequency is generated, but there's no measurable current. So, and you notice right now it's at 700 hertz at the top here. This is the frequency being transmitted. And you see here it dropped down to 87.8. So as you go through this, the lower the frequency, the more current, more power it needs to actually be transmitted, and kind of get into your body essentially. So you might notice when you're running a program, see, okay, this one again, it kind of, I'm on the borderline right now for the proper intensity. It's when it's switching back and forth too much between proper connection and not. You want to boost that up a little bit, at least, to where it stays the frequency wave at all times. So I'm gonna just increase this up to 35. Actually, let's just drop it down so you can just kind of see what that looks like again from that point of view. But we're down to 10% here, and then as it switches to the next frequency, oh, we got a. I'm having a hard time not getting good conductivity, because I actually had mentioned this. Well, I took a trip in November, and for the first time in many years, I only used my Healy device, I think once over a 2-week period. When I came back, I was super sensitive to microcurrent again. It's like my whole body reset, which is a very interesting thing, because some of the same programs I was running at 70, 80, 90%, were too strong at now 30 or 40%. My hands were tingling. It was just too much sensation. So I'm still kind of in that range to where it hasn't really built back up. Can anything you can kind of speak to as far as that type of thing? Because the intensity and from day to day that can change too, depending on your hydration level, as well as far as how much you can actually feel the frequencies.
Absolutely. As mentioned before, we are these conductive instruments, these bodies, intracellular, extracellular water within our bodies. It's in the cells. It's in our whole body. That's what we're made of. And these bodies adjust to the tune of 800,000 cells per second. This is just epigenetics. This is just how we work. Irregardless of who you are, life just evolves. And there is a turnover rate to our cell structures. And it's different for bone, say, or muscle or brain or even blood cells. It's a different turnover rate. However, 800,000 cells per second throughout the entire organism are switching and changing. And so as Jake mentioned, you take a break from something. This is the evolution of these bodies. It never stops. And so when you pluck yourself out of one environment, move into another environment, you'll see you may be uncomfortable for a little while, but your body acclimates to the environment. It is the environment or the exterior that signals the genetic coding. So when we're running microcurrent through our body starts to acclimate. It starts to adjust. It starts to acquire new coding, right? New codes, and it becomes familiar with microcurrent. And then this is why we take a day off. This is why we take some time off, so that we allow our bodies to reset. And when you take long periods of time off, your body resets again back to old ways. And whatever your environment is, however it's being influenced, is going to have an effect on your health. Mindset, of course, is part of that. So when you go back to using your Healy again, as Jake noticed, and you guys will notice the same, you're going to need to adjust that intensity. This is why we're showing you this. And the key thing is that we shouldn't really feel it. Right? People, I know, I hear it all the time. More is better. No, it's not. When we are running a system and we're involuntarily making the body do something, like some of you might be familiar with a TENS unit. It's putting current into the body, convulsing muscle structures. It's got benefit, but it's doing it involuntarily. Healy is running signals in that is more subconscious, more subtle, below the awareness. And the moment we become aware of this happening, we start to turn on our sympathetic nervous system, aka fight or flight. And we don't want that. Healing happens during the parasympathetic or rest and digest phase, right? That's the nervous system we want to be in. And so it is key that we stay within that regeneration and repair phase. I call it repair, recovery, and growth phase. That's again the parasympathetic nervous response. And that shouldn't be where you can feel this pulsation or this intense triggering. There's a fine line between when you're brand new and you're sensitive, where you're seeing this conductive strip that you're seeing on the screen right now. See where
and as you mentioned that, you see it dropped down to 0.9 hertz, which is super low frequency, and that's where it kind of lost that measurable current. And then as it switches back here in a couple of seconds to a different frequency, that line will probably come back here, that frequency wave. Yeah, see, there you go. A much higher frequency now is much easier. It doesn't require as much current.
And this oscillation you're seeing right here is that fine line. So it's best to go to where you can feel it and then just back it off a click. So right now, Jake would want to up the intensity from 10% to say 15%, and then get below that. See, now you're still at 9 hertz, but yet he's got a signal of conductivity. This is how Healy constantly monitors the effectiveness of its application, right? It's always looking to make sure that it's doing its job, right? And then it's giving you a progress report to see how well your body's doing with that one frequency. You're noticing every time it changes frequency, it gives a different percentage on the other side of that vertical bar. That's your body's resonance, or let's call it your gas tank being full, right? You're 40%, or in this case, 7% full on 9 hertz, right? And once that one frequency gets to 100%, it kicks it out of the routine. Healy does 2 things. It doesn't give you what you don't need, and it also evaluates itself to make sure it's being effective.
Yeah. And there's a great question here. It says, Sheila mentioned, I put mine to 100 almost all the time and do not feel anything. Is this bad? No, this isn't a case of no pain, no gain, as Ken mentioned there. Less is more for sure. But the issue that might come up is if you're at 100 and you're still not getting that flowing frequency wave, if it keeps getting interrupted, it could be an issue with hydration. It could be an issue. And Ken, you're going to talk a little bit about how to determine if your electrodes and cables are working properly too. But also, actually, it's probably a good time to switch over and talk about how to switch from the current of your Healy device, because that's another thing too. Maybe your device is set to low current, and it would be better for you as an individual to go to a high current setting. So while this is running here, I'm going to go back to HealAdvisor. So this is where we were before, the HealAdvisor app, where the search program is. But if you go to settings and then go to My Healy, so this is going to pull up the Healy device on my account. You see here, there's a green, or the high current is in green. So that means that my Healy device is set to high current. But by default, every Healy device that ships is at the low current setting, because some people are very sensitive to microcurrent, and you don't want them to have too much current if they have high sensitivity to it. So of course, to be safe, ours by default ship at low current, but we give you the option to switch to high current if you want. It's a very simple process. Really, all you do is you log into your HealAdvisor app. You find the Healy device that you want to change that current on. And right now I'm on high current, but if I was at low and want to go to high, just click switch. And then it's going to show you essentially, in this case, would go from high to low. But if you were to go from low to high, it would say, are you sure? Then it kind of shows there's a little graphic here as far as what it would look like. After you click yes, you have to wait about an hour for that new configuration to take effect. And you have to load that update in your Healy app. So not in the HealAdvisor app. You have to go into your Healy app. And there'll be a banner at the top of your screen saying the new update is available. Click OK, and that would load that update, or the new configuration is available, to download it onto your Healy device. So, and you can change back and forth. You can go from, if you're at low and think you want to go to high, you can do that. And like, if you're like, oh, that's too much, you can go from high back down to low. It's a very simple process there too. But it's definitely a good thing to keep in mind, because if you were, um, let's just say you were demoing a Healy device, someone from someone else, and it was the right amount of sensation for you. It wasn't too much, but it was, just the right amount. Then you got yours, and maybe you're having trouble getting the proper conductivity there. It could be that you need to move yours to high current, or as we mentioned before, it could be that you need to maybe drink some more water, make sure you're hydrated. Maybe moisten the wristbands a little bit, or the electrodes too, would be possibilities as well. But that's definitely something to keep in mind when you first get your Healy device. You can definitely try it at low current first. Maybe that's plenty for you. Just know you have the option to switch to high current if you want to.
As Jake was mentioning, folks, you make these adjustments here in the HealAdvisor Analyze app, but they take effect on the Healy 2 app. And in order for that to actually happen, there must be a update in the Healy 2 app. So in other words, when you go back to your Healy 2 app, it's either going to have an automatic response, and this shift from high to low will not take effect until you actually get this update notification and you perform the update, and it will say update successful, right? And there'll be a message, or you can force the idea, and you can force it to check for an update within the settings screen in that app. But just know that it has to first be updated in that the Healy 2 app, the pink app, before this shift is effective.
Yep. Okay, so let's go switch over to, actually, let me go switch over to Academy real quick, Ken, and then we'll do the electrode test on there too. So let me go back here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay. So just a kind of quick reminder on this, going back over to Healy Academy. So what we just showed there, that video is in the products, Healy, scroll down, and there's a full video just on how to change the electric current of your Healy device. So you can always go back and reference that as well. And then earlier, when we were talking about how to determine which programs to run, we showed on the screen how to do that in the HealAdvisor Search module. But in this video, in the Healy and Mag Healy First Steps, it also shows if you want to use the Analyze app to determine which program to run. And it goes through, it's kind of like the standard process here at Healy, especially when you're new to Healy and don't know what to run. Do a resonance analysis for the all Healy program group, and then pick that top one, and then do an analysis just for that program group to then determine, to narrow it down to which actual program to run in the Healy 2 app. So, but yeah, that video is there to reference as well after this call. So, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you want to show us this simple tip on how to determine if your electrodes are working properly in the cables.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is important to know that the hardware itself is functioning right? So the app is showing you whether you're getting the current flow or not, right? But what if you're doing everything right, or you feel like you're doing everything right, and you still get that same signal? Now, remember, there's one thing I want everyone to understand, that we need to take responsibility for our healing. And if we, as a human being, are extremely resistive, when I mean resistive, I mean you don't believe in nothing, and nothing works, and everything's broken, and all that. That's a mental mindset that I'm going to tell you it creates. Remember I said earlier, 800,000 cells per second are being created within you. It builds a biology to fit your mentality. And so it can be that. Now, but I'm going to show you how to eliminate the possibility of it being anything to do with hardware. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm running a program right now, and I'm going to show you a quick test using your hardware and your Healy 2 app, right? The pink app. This is all within the microcurrent system. The only time we're really concerned about whether we're getting conductivity is if, in fact, we're running the microcurrent, right? Okay, so let's get into the program I want to see. Here's our, let's continue. These are, of course, our programs. I'm gonna get me out of the way. I love the fitness page, as Jake was talking about regeneration. I love the performance one. I love the muscle one. I love the recovery. All of them are good. So we're just going to go there. And I am running the program. I do not currently have the wristbands on for this particular program and for this particular Healy. You can see the wristbands are right here. I've got the wires connected to the Healy, right? So everything mechanically and physically is connected. Here's the Healy, here's the wires, and here's the electrodes. And I'm running the program. And I'm trying to figure out if I, as the body connected, is the problem with the equation. So what you do is you have your wristbands, you connect them, and everybody knows that there's two sides to these wristbands, right? There's the Velcro side, and then there's a side that goes against your skin. So the side that goes against your skin is what we're testing. We want to touch the sides that touch your skin together. Touch them together. And you see on the screen that now all of a sudden I've got flow, right? I'm going to lower the intensity all the way down. This is the lowest. If I go to 0%, it's obviously, it's even at 0% output, I'm still getting flow through the system because I'm touching these bands together. So physically touching them. Now, if I remove that, boom, I instantly lose connection. So you see how that conductivity works? If for some reason you think, well, you know, you've done that and you're still not getting connection, you might also, if you've had your wristbands for a long period of time, you can clean them. They do get dirty, right? They do get dirty, and you can clean them. To clean these, you can just use some pH neutral cleaner. I like to use like a pH balanced, maybe dish soap or something. Just wash them off with some warm water, shake them off, let them dry, and they're ready to go again. Okay, so that's a quick and simple test. If you're putting them on your body and you're still having problems getting conduction, you can, I always moisten my wristbands before I put them on, or I moisten my skin with water and then put them on. You can also take a cotton ball, a moistened cotton ball, and I'll show you if I take this wet, this is a wet cotton ball, by the way, folks. And if I just take the wet cotton ball, put that between the conductive strip, and I get connection again. So you can see, if even I'm touching this right now with my skin, I'm very conductive. So I'm touching it with my fingertips, and still you see that I'm getting a flow. I have to touch the sides of these bands in order for it to not get through me. And so for this test, I'm showing you if I have a cotton ball in there, it's giving, and this is even at 0%. You notice that? I'm going to bump it up to 5%. But because we are doing a tangible connection here with the hardware, then it's going to be very low powered is all it needs. All right. So hopefully that helps, guys. We'll stop sharing.
Yeah, we just got a couple more topics. I know we're a little bit past the hour, but a couple more things we want to cover in this sort of getting started episode. But, you know, just real quick, one of the big things too to keep in mind when we have multiple apps with Healy. We have the Healy 2 app, the Analyze 2 app, we have the HealAdvisor app, and then we have the Watch app. But when you're trying to work with all of them, let me actually, okay, sorry. That you can't be connected to both the Healy 2 app, your device can't be connected to both the Healy 2 app and the Analyze 2 app at the same time. So the HealAdvisor app, yes, because you're not actually connecting, your Healy device is not actually connecting via Bluetooth to the app with the HealAdvisor app, but when you're using the Healy 2 app, running the microcurrent program, you can't switch over at the same time with that Healy 2 app open and connect your Healy device to the Analyze 2 app and vibrate a program. You can hard close the app. So say you're running a microcurrent program in the Healy 2 app, and you want to check out something, connect your Healy device to the Analyze 2 app and do something else, just to check something with there, you would have to hard close the app completely. At that point, the program will continue to run on your Healy device, and you'll see that that green light will continue to flash for the duration of the program while it's running, but you're no longer connected via Bluetooth to the Healy 2 app. So, yeah. Got anything to add on
Yeah,
to?
yeah. So that the Healy's Bluetooth chip, the way this system it's for security purposes is another big reason that Healy can't be connected to two apps at the same time. So in other words, if I've got my Healy on and we're in a meeting together, you know, and there's 7 people there with their Healys, and I connect my app, I turn my app on, and all of a sudden I'm connected to someone else's Healy that they are already connected to. That's not possible. That's not possible. Because only one app at a time will connect to the Bluetooth chip within the hardware. So same reason, like if you're running an analysis in the HealAdvisor app, and you want to run over and go, oh my gosh, well, here's the microcurrent program I need. I'm going to run right over there and jump on, turn that program on, and the Blue app is running in the background. You're not going to be able to connect to the Healy app. You won't. It will not let you. So you have
we
to.
had a question as far as what do you mean hard close? So basically, to fully close out the app, don't move it to the background, because a lot of times if you're using the app and you just open a new one, that one, the other one you're using didn't close. It's just running in the background too. So it's different on Android versus iOS, but typically when you pull up the screen where you can kind of scroll between all the different apps that are open, if you swipe up, typically that will sort of fully close that app out as well. So
If you guys aren't sure how to hard close an app, I guarantee you're running too many right now, right? If your smart device, if you don't know how to hard close an app, you've probably opened several things and never closed any. This is important. It's very important because Healy is a resource hungry system. And if you're running a whole bunch of apps in the background and you're trying to do an analysis, you're trying to run microcurrent, your smart device is being tasked by all the other required operations that these other apps are doing. In other words, checking your email, looking on Facebook, doing all this stuff in the background. So go to YouTube, look up how to hard close an app on your smart device. They'll guarantee you there'll be something there. If you don't know how to do it on iOS or how to do it on Android, there's something on YouTube that'll help you do that. Make sure you hard close all those other apps in the background and then run your Healy apps. It's going to be a lot more successful.
Yep. Okay, Ken, I'm gonna show, we had 2 slides to cover to close the day. Just kind of to recap some things here. So what I'm about to share here, these are tips. This actually comes straight from that getting started, the first steps video that I showed you. There's a further into the video, there's a kind of a 6 tips for using your Healy device. And this first one here, do not use more than 3 programs per day and take a break for 1 day each week without using any programs. And that's why our Healy demo experience that we launched a few months ago, it's a 7-day journey, but only on 6 of those days that you actually run a program. And again, we talked about this on Tech Tip Tuesday last night, or 2 nights ago, sorry. Yeah, last night was not Tuesday. But yeah, it was the question, and you mentioned that you take 2 days off per day as well. So you really, it's about listening to your own body. Maybe 1 day's enough. Maybe 2 day works best for you there. So that's a great tip. And then of course, we've already talked about the importance of hydration. Drink at least 1 glass of water before and after use, because one of the key things for making sure that the microcurrent can work properly. And then again, we've stressed this a lot on the call. Adjust the intensity of the program to your personal needs. You know, what's right for you is probably not going to be right for the person next to you or or your friend. If your friend runs regeneration at 80% and they're like, hey, you need that has no relevance at all to you. There's no comparing the intensity from person to person. So just keep that in mind to your own personal needs. And then, of course, in this case, less is more. And then this is just a quick reminder that once you have set the intensity, if you want to disconnect from Bluetooth, close out the actual app itself and just run the program, you can do so. You can either disconnect Bluetooth or hard close the app, like we just talked about. And then these last two are about relaxing. Relax during frequency applications, and then relax for 2 hours after the application to give your body time to process the information of the different frequencies and to complete the triggered processes. And this kind of, to me, this circles back to point number one of do not use more than 3 programs per day. This isn't run 3 programs back to back to back. You need to take a break in between them. And Ken, I know you talk a lot about grounding in between these as well too. If you want to sort of add on any tips for how to properly space these out.
Absolutely. So when we're doing this, what we're doing is we're charging cell membrane voltage. We're charging it, right? We're energizing the body. And so there's a huge benefit to grounding. And after every single one of these microcurrent applications, or even when you're using the vibrate mode within the HealAdvisor app, I recommend that you spend a few minutes grounding. You don't have to spend a half an hour, don't have to, because the moment you touch ground, and when I say grounding, I'm talking about bare skin on bare earth, okay? Or grounding mats or things that function with the circuitry within your home or electrical systems. Just to understand about grounding, and it's a very big benefit to resetting the body or bringing it back into balance, and then you go to your next program and charge it up again. But again, the space of time between programs, you're not only grounding, you're hydrating, right? You're relaxing, you're allowing. Remember I said 800,000 cells per second? Takes a little bit. Let your body reset and then do it again.
All right.
Jake, there was something also relative to what you said here, number 4, where we shut down the app, right? We hard close the app, and the Healy is still going to be running. But there's somebody that says, well, what if I move too far away from my device and the Bluetooth signal shuts down? And remember, folks, this is what's called the Bluetooth signal that Healy uses is called BLE, or Bluetooth Low Energy. It only has a 32-foot range, or about 10 meters, right? It doesn't have a very far range, and that's clear line of sight. So if you're from one room to another, it may disconnect in even a shorter span. And if it does that, that's okay, because the app is still running on your smart device. If it loses signal, you can actually hard close the app and the Healy's still going to be running. You just simply reopen the app. You say yes when it comes to connect to that Healy, and then make sure you say continue instead of choosing any other program. There's going to be an option that's going to talk about the program that was running, and you say continue. When you say continue, it goes right back to wherever that app was in that present moment without skipping a beat, because it's all done from the Healy. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so to close here, where to go to get support? We've talked a lot about some of the basic functions, how to get off to a great start, get the most out of your Healy device on this call today. But beyond that, so we talked a lot about Academy as well. Academy is for me the #1 resource. There's a video there pretty much about everything, as far as whether it's the science behind the information field, or using your Healy device, or using the new Analyze 2 app, or using the coaching module, interpreting the analysis parameters, all those types of things. Definitely #1 resource. If you're not using Academy, you're missing out. Go use it. Go log in right after this call and check that out. That's for definitely the first go-to. See if you can find what you're looking for there. If not, we at least for the US and Canada, we have live chat with our tech support team and our customer care teams from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday on the US and Canada shops. I know there's a lot of people on this call from Mexico, and I know the Mexico team is working on this live chat option as well, coming in the near future. So that'll be great also. So Academy live chat. We also have the help center and the support center. So a lot of you probably are familiar with the support center. That's where you actually go to submit the support ticket. So if you can't find the answer in Academy, maybe you couldn't make us, reach out for live chat during regular hours. You can go ahead and submit a support ticket too via our support center. And the help center has a lot of FAQs as well that you can search from and get answers to. Healy America's events, that's our events calendar just for the Americas. So if you scan that QR code, it'll take you right there. But HealyAmericasEvents.com, that's where you can get links directly to calls like this for Healy for Beginners and Beyond, for calls like What's Up Wednesday. For those of you that have not been able to join us on a Tech Tip Tuesday that we do pretty much every Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Ken and I, it's a chat-based call. So there's no agenda for that call. We just go based off of the questions that are asked in the chat. Very, very useful call. So that's another great resource. And then finally here, the Healy World Americas channel on YouTube. We talked about this earlier on the call as well. You can get to it directly by going to HealyAmericas.com. But every Tech Tip Tuesday is put onto that channel, and every single question that we discuss is indexed. So, you can at a glance see every single topic that we discuss, and you can go right to those particular, those individual segments as well. And for example, this call, Healy for Beginners and Beyond, this will be available on our YouTube channel as well for any of you that want to go back and reference this later. I know we covered a lot today, but yeah, this is meant to be a great reference for everybody, whether you're new or need a refresher or just never knew about some of these things. So yeah, we've covered like Ted. Anything you wanted to add on your side before we close?
If you guys have seen some value within the chat, I want you to understand that you can save the chat at the end of this call just by clicking on those three little dots down there in your chat box. There'll be a save chat option. And then at the end of this call, if you're on your PC or laptop, you'll be able to save all the content in the chat to a file. If you're on your smart device, sorry, that's not possible. But there you go. There's that. And remember, all this is recorded. It's indexed. Like Jake said, I love that feature. I can click to exactly what I want to see and only hear that. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Great job, team.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you so much, Henry. And for me, that is the beauty of our Healy World community around the world, is that we have so many people willing to share their knowledge. We're all at different levels of knowledge as far as the Healy goes. And this is a lifelong journey of learning of the Healy. There's so much to learn, so much to benefit from, but it's amazing that we have so many people willing to share, to help us get the most out of this precious gift that we have here. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And again, check the recording if you need to go back and review anything, share it with people on your teams for anyone that missed it. And we hope to see you on some future Tech Tip Tuesdays and Healy for Beginners and Beyond. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.